A very good evening, all of you. In today's video, we'll discuss about answer writing techniques for mains examination. We all know that answer writing is a very important part of the preparation. A common problem जो आती है, which I have witnessed in the UPSC preparation, around you can say 70 to 80% people don't know how to write answers. उनका जो answer writing skills है, that is below average, and that is where it is important to understand what is the basic approach which is needed to write a good answer. What is the anatomy of introduction, body, conclusion. तो मैं आपको एक structure दिखाऊंगा in the next 5-7 minutes, and also I'll show you a model answer in terms of what you will write in introduction, what you will write in body, and what you will write in other areas. Okay, so we have to ensure that preparation is streamlined as per the requirements of the answer writing. Okay, now let's go forward. Now we all know the optional subject and GS. Total there are 7 papers, 4 GS papers, 1 essay. Then you have 2 papers as optionals. So total 7 papers are counted in merit, and that is total 1750 marks, right? आप ये देखिए 1750 marks merit के means के होते हैं. And that is where it is important that you have to write good answers. Total हर paper में 20 questions, which means on an average you have to write 6 papers, 2 essays. So you have to write 120 answers and 2 essays in 4.5 days. So आपको 120 essay and you have to write so many essays, 2 essays to do that. And that is why answer writing becomes very important. Now, what are do's before answer? एक अच्छे answers लिखने से पहले हमें क्या ध्यान देना चाहिए? The first thing is, of course, read the question very properly. Answers have to be very contextual in terms of what question is asking. Answers random नहीं हो सकते हैं. You can't write random answers. Also observe the paper, word limit and time limit. If you have an answer of 200 words, अगर 200 word का answer है, so it has to be written in 9-10 minutes. If it is 250 words answer, I would say 12 minutes. Okay, if it is a 150 word answer, I would say 7 minutes at the max. So you have to draw a line. आप ऐसा नहीं कि you can't write 200 word answer in 50 minutes. So which means you will not get time. Okay, so we have to understand that. Second, can you attempt the question? आपको question आता है? Do you have basic content? You can't write random stuff in answer and waste the examiner's time, because you will not get marks. आपको marks नहीं मिलेगा unless until you write relevant answer for the question. Then always look at keywords. Every question is framed around certain keywords. There are important words on which the whole question is framed. Look for them, identify them, and focus on them, and that is how you can write good answer. I'll explain it to you. In case you are attempting paper, अगर आप paper attempt कर रहे हैं 20 question का, choose the best answers where you can write good answers. Also plan your answer before writing the question. आप पहले से ही एक structure बना लो. Maybe just think maybe you can say right now, if you're starting today, just think for 2 minutes. Okay, what should be my in introduction में क्या होगा? What will be there in my body? Which pointers, in a very small words, what should I write in the conclusion? So you have to be very clear in terms of कि आंसर में क्या होना चाहिए. Always remember, and this I'm repeating it, your mind works faster than the handwriting, the speed that you're writing. So many a times point will come, but moment you complete the current point and go to the next point, it is blank. You are not able to recall. And that is where, when you plan your answer, when you structure it, you can write small keywords related to the point that you might be answering. That will change the whole dynamic. It is about bringing everything. उस question के बारे में जो भी knowledge है, आपको एक structured तरीके से you have to bring at one place, and that is the key behind the preparation. So I want you all to think before writing answer. Don't just jump randomly and write anything. Now, any structure, anatomy of a good answer is that it should have an introduction. Introduction is like setting the base for the answer, setting the tempo for the answer. Then you go into detail and you write detail about the question that you do in the body. And conclusion, you are ending the answer through maybe everything that you want to tell about the answer is already over. Now, introduction should, let's say you're writing 200-word answer. So 10% should be introduction. It can go up to 15% also. So it is must, and it should be 10% of the word limit. Now, introduction start कैसे करें? एक basic question पूछते हैं मेरे से. Let's say there is a question on anything. There's a question on development, right? So when you write introduction, define development or start a line which explains about development. And you switch on. Maybe question is asking, discuss development in India's context. Do you think that economic growth model is suitable for India or not? Right? So you start with development, you explain a 2-line development, and then you go to the body. Or body में you are carrying forward the introduction. Remember, your introduction में लिखा है उसी को carry forward करना है. And you might go further, explain development in India's context, what we are thinking, and then you write in small paragraph. Remember, answers को break करना है छोटे-छोटे part में. And the reason why I'm saying to break the answer in small parts, so that you can switch from one argument to another argument. You can switch from one mode to another mode. You can understand, the people who's taking the answer understand that this paragraph talks about certain idea, this paragraph talks about certain idea. So body should be divided into small paragraph. Let's say body में आपका 75% आप लिखते हो. So in 200-word answer, you're writing 150 words for body only, 150, 160 words. So you can divide the body into maybe 3 to 4 paragraphs. Every paragraph is of 40 words, right? So here you can write in detail, you can discuss. Remember one more thing, UPSC has not defined how to write an answer. So here you can be innovative also. Innovation use करिए. You can use flow charts, you can use diagrams, and always read the question while writing the answer in between. कई बार ऐसा होता है that when you're attempting the question, you forget the question itself. You forget what exactly question is asking because there are too many things that is going ahead. So just coming back and looking at the question just for a second, at least will recall, okay, the focus should be here. So that is how you are supposed to write. एक अच्छे answer के लिए, it is important that you focus on all the areas. The answer should be contextual and it should be relevant to the question that is being asked. Answer cannot be random. Remember. Coming to the conclusion. Conclusion is the end of the answer, right? Again, at 10 to 15%. Be brief and precise. Think from examiner's point of view. What kind of conclusion? Let's say the same question, we are talking about development. You explain everything about development, you explain about India's context, what kind of development model India needs. India does not want to copy the Western model. We want to develop our own model of development which is sustainable in nature, right? So you might conclude here that India's development model should be suited to India's needs so that the welfare of the citizen at large can be brought in, and the goals of, or you can say the vision of the constitutional makers can be brought on ground. So that is how you can conclude in 2 lines, right? Also, don't repeat the point. कई बार क्या करते हैं लोग? They repeat the point written earlier. No, don't do that. The point should be new and unique. Avoid flowery and ornamental language. बहुत high fundu language, high vocab, heavy words. Don't use it. Remember, answer depends on your content. Big grammar, heavy word will only waste the examiner's point. कई लोगों को समझ नहीं आएगा. It's better to stick to the basic approach. Think of class 9th NCERT or 10th NCERT. See the language. अगर उस language को I can replicate in my answer, nothing like it. Now let me tell you about this answer, and this question is about. It is a very big question. It is a typical mains question, and I'll tell you how to write, how to think about this question. Illustrate difference between our rural and urban poverty. Is it correct to say that poverty has shifted from rural to urban areas? Use the trends in the poverty ratio to support your answer. Now, which means first they're asking about poverty, the difference between urban and rural poverty. Second, they're asking about trend. Kya poverty rural se urban area mein move kar rahi hai? And the third part of the question is that you explain this trend based on the data and fact you have. So data and fact do we have? Yes. बहुत सारी government report है which talks about urban poverty, rural poverty, the change in that. So you have to analyze that. Introduction में क्या होना चाहिए? Now look for keywords. What is keyword? Poverty. So one keyword is poverty. What is the second keyword? They are asking about rural. Again, the poverty in terms of rural and urban area. So you need to know these are again second keyword. The third keyword could be poverty ratio. So the whole answer will move on poverty, urban, rural, and of course poverty ratio. Start the introduction. Introduction में क्या लिखोगे? Confused. What should I write? Approach. Follow basic definition of poverty. What is poverty? Poverty is a state under which people are not able to meet their basic needs. Poverty can be understood in absolute terms, wherein people do not have income to sustain their life at first level, and it can be relative also, which talks about difference in terms of inequality in society. So that is how you start your introduction. Okay, then you come to body. Explain rural and urban poverty. The poverty in rural area is urban, rural poverty. Poverty in urban area, sorry, rural area would be rural poverty. यहाँ पे क्या करो? Give an example. So you can take example of many committees. So there is a Tendulkar committee. There is a Rangarajan committee. You have to remember few facts. Unka table banao, and you can see this is urban poverty. Compare them. Now comparing means what is the difference? Urban poverty is an urban area, and that poverty is mainly because the urban lifestyle is higher and people's income is lesser than the threshold of the urban income. The second would be urban poverty is mainly seen in slums. The urban poverty is seen in areas which are involved in non-agricultural activity. The urban poverty is mainly seen in among laborers whose income is less than the unskilled people. The income is less. Okay, so you'll make a table, maybe 4 or 5 points. Rural urban poverty ka aap write karoge. Then you'll move to migration trends, because the question is asking that why migration? So migration is happening from rural to urban area. Naturally, our migration is happening because of the push factors. Log rural se urban area mein push log ja rahe hain, and when they're moving from rural to urban area, that is because there is no life in rural area and people are looking for some good jobs and income, and they move to urban area. But moment they go to urban area, they find that urban lifestyle is costly, and even the income that they're getting is not possible to sustain the life. जो income उनको urban में मिल रहा है, वो उनको अच्छी quality of life देने में support नहीं करता है, unless until maybe somebody is very maybe innovative and somebody who has high skill. I'm talking about general population, because the masses है वो unskilled है, they are casual laborers. So you'll talk about that occupational structure has changed from agriculture labor. They have become urban casual laborers. They're involved in manual work. It is also example of pauperization of urban society, where urban society is getting more poor. कुछ हो नहीं रहा है. The people are moving from rural to urban area. So the poverty is shifting from rural to urban area. And the quality of life is not changing. It is still bad and it is below the par. Then there are issues in urban poverty. We see issues like proliferation of slums. Slums बढ़ रहे हैं. There is huge pollution. Malnutrition is seen among children. Okay, increase in crime, shift from rural poverty to is more visible. Rural to urban poverty is more visible. Rural poverty is on the decline. ये कम हो रहा है. Remember, urban poverty बढ़ रहा है, but बहुत नहीं बढ़ रहा है. But rural poverty is definitely on decline, and you can use data of Tendulkar committee. You can use data of Rangarajan committee, and that is how you can compare and give some data. Way forward, how you can address the poverty. Poverty elevation की strategies क्या होंगी broadly? The poverty elevation strategies could be creating employment, good employment. It could be on focusing on education, health, human development. It could be through other points, infrastructure development. It could be through working on economic growth of the nation. Okay, and in the past we have seen that overall poverty has declined if you have worked on these areas. So past decade में urban overall poverty कम हुआ है, but urban poverty has stagnated. It has not decreased. And what is needed? A strong state intervention is needed. बहुत strong government का intervention required है with rehabilitation and support to these people. So that is how this is what your conclusion would have. Very small 2 lines of conclusion. देखिए मैंने एक complex question को रखा है. This question is not one question. There are 3 questions in the same question. So when you write a simple answer, you can write very easily around the keywords. But when you write in a complex question, you have to understand there are 3 parts of the question, which means I have to write 3 answers within the same answer. So that is where it is important to be very clear. UPSC में जो main में question आएंगे, you might have multiple sub parts, 2 parts, 3 parts, ज़्यादा नहीं होगा, but 2 to 3 parts होगा. So that this is a typical model answer that you can think of at levels. Now, what are the common mistakes which are made by the students? A common mistake student क्या करता है? Multiple mistake. They don't write introduction, conclusion. Randomly लिख रहे हैं anything. They are writing anything which is coming in their mind and head. Don't do that. Balanced approach is needed. Avoid being critical and over supportive. कई बार आप government को criticize करते हो for not good work they are doing. Many a times you are over critical and you go very critical. कल को आप administration में जाने वाले, you can't be over critical. You have to be, you can criticize government and government का ही data use करो. Government will tell the facts. बहुत supportive मत हो, pro government भी बहुत मत हो. Take a middle path. And remember, administration में हमें we have to be welfare orientation. We have to be little socialist. We have to be little humanist. I would say not socialist. I would say humanist, compassionate, supportive. Okay, so you can talk and everybody. And welfare is a very common thing today in the COVID period. We can understand that it is important that government will have to take everything on, head on. You have to fight this COVID. Private player cannot do that. Follow the requirements of the question. क्या पूछ रहा है वो जवाब दीजिए. Don't write random stuff which you think you know. You don't have time, and word limit is very limited. Many times question is not understood. Try to cover as many dimensions. आप question के हर area को cover करने की कोशिश करो. Think of multiple points. Maybe take some time before writing. As I mentioned, do the planning of the answer का planning करो. Okay, maybe 2 minutes in the beginning. शुरू में आप 5 मिनट भी कर सकते हो. 5-7 minutes answer पे लिखना क्या है? Then you can write. Once your speed is improved, when you're able to write, in the time limit manner, you can reduce the planning time. Planning time अपने आप कम हो जाएगा. A time will come where you can do planning in your head in just 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Because eventually when you write answers, आप हर बार planning नहीं करते रहोगे. But शुरू में you have to learn how to do planning and how to write a good, answer for the examination. Okay, give facts, data. अच्छे example दीजिए facts. While making notes, you can note down. Okay, these are facts that I can use in my answers. Student, you can do that beforehand. आप पहले से planning कर सकते हो. Okay, you can use government data, government report, Niti Aayog report, second ARC report. You can use World Bank report. You can use economic survey data. तो इन सब data से आप बहुत easily अपने answers को use करके can improve the quality of that. Okay, and remember, if you know a question, then only attempt the question. अगर आपको answer नहीं पता है, don't attempt the question because it is not a university examination कि आपने बहुत सारा लिख दिया तो number मिलेगा. No. You will get answers, you will get marks only when you write good answer and the quality answer. So that is all. I hope आपको समझ में आया एक अच्छे आंसर की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या होती है. What's the anatomy of the good answer? I'll come again and I'll show